Yo, what's going on, guys? In this video, I'm going to go over the NFL pricing for week one. The pricing's been out for a good couple weeks. I did decide to make this video though. We still have over 3 weeks, just over 3 weeks till the start of week one. I'm recording this on August 15th. I just wanted to go through each position, kind of talk about some of the guys that just, given their pricing, really stand out. This video is not going to be about picks or anything. It's too early in the season right now to give picks. The season hasn't even started. We're still in the preseason right now. As we get closer to week one, I will start putting out more videos, giving more in-depth options. Since we'll have more information, there's still guys that are questionable, especially at running back. There's guys that are holding out. We don't know if they're going to wind up playing or not. So as we get more information closer to week one, I will have more videos out going through each position. But this video is just going to be going through the pricing for DraftKings, talking about some guys that just given their pricing really stand out. We'll go through each position real quickly. I will be doing a video similar to this for Yahoo. So if you're going to be playing Yahoo NFL DFS this year, which a lot of you should be, Yahoo's a great site for the casual player. They have 10 entries per, every contest on their site is 10 entry max. You're not going up against people with 150 lineups. We'll talk about Yahoo more specifically in that Yahoo video, but this video is going to be just for DraftKings. Before we do get started though, guys, I would definitely appreciate it if you would drop a like on the video. If you are new to the channel, I'm sure this video is probably going to attract some new users. Since it is NFL season is by far the most popular sport for fantasy, so I'm sure some new people are going to be watching this video. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Make sure you click that subscribe button down below. I'm going to be putting out a ton of content for NFL this year, pretty much covering every slate, pretty much as many slates as I can get covered. Showdown, primetime slates, obviously the main slate as well. We'll be doing DraftKings and Yahoo all year. Let's just go ahead and get started now. Starting off at quarterback, just looking at the pricing, some guys that really stand out. You have your normal options at the top, like Patrick Mahomes. Jameis Winston's going to be a guy that we're going to see very expensive, I feel like, just the whole year. Winston's going to have a ton of volume this year in terms of just passing attempts. Last year, he was throwing the ball 40, 50 times a game. Tampa Bay doesn't really have much of a running game. Their chances of winning games this year is going to be with Winston throwing the ball as much as possible. That's how their offense is going to score. We're going to see, in my opinion, we're going to see big years from Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I think both of those guys are going to have really good seasons. I think Winston is going to be a fantasy monster this year. So the $6,600 price makes a lot of sense. This San Francisco-Tampa Bay game, I feel like it's going to be a game to target for offense. We have two teams projected to do really well in terms of scoring in this game. So Winston, a guy I do like at the top. I think he's going to be someone I do go pretty heavy on when we get closer to week one. But quarterback, just looking at the pricing, I do want to talk about some of the values we have. Some guys do really stand out for cheap. Like on the other side of that game, Jimmy Garoppolo is only $5,800 in a really good matchup against a Tampa Bay defense that just really struggles against the pass. This is a defense we picked on a lot last year with opposing quarterbacks. I think Garoppolo on DraftKings at $5,800 is going to be someone we probably look to. Same with Dak Prescott, $5,900 at home against the Giants. Even Phillip Rivers at home against the Colts. Those are some values I really like. This definitely feels like a slate where I'm probably going to be paying down at quarterback. Patrick Mahomes is in a tough spot against Jacksonville. Mahomes is pretty much in play every slate because he's just so good, but this is not the best spot against the Jaguars. He's also the most expensive quarterback on the slate, so I don't feel like we're really going to need to pay up for him. I did mention Winston, who I like, but I really like some of these cheap guys we have. One guy that's going to really pop for a lot of people, people have already been talking about him, is Kyler Murray at only $5,600 in a home matchup against the Lions. I think Kyler Murray is going to be a guy that is rostered heavily in week one. He's probably going to be one of the more popular quarterbacks, I would imagine. His price tag, though, is just too cheap. This Arizona team, their offense is going to be a fast-paced offense this year. With Cliff Kingsbury as the head coach, they're going to be running a lot of up-tempo, a lot of no-huddle. We're going to see Arizona have one of the more faster-paced offenses. I like them a lot here in the spot against the Lions. A lot of Kyler Murray's receivers are very cheap on DraftKings. I'm definitely going to have a lot of Murray, Kirk, Staggs, Murray, Fitzgerald, maybe even Kyler Murray and Isabel you can maybe look to. So I do like Murray a lot at $5,600. He's a value play, I think. It's going to be a guy we look to Kirk Cousins at home against the Falcons at 5,500, I think is another pretty good value as well. He's another guy I do like quite a bit, just looking at the pricing. Some other guys for value maybe we could go to that stand out. Not much once you get past like Kirk Cousins. Maybe you could go to Nick Foles, 5,300 against the Chiefs. He's someone that could potentially be in play. But this range right here from like even Lamar Jackson you can maybe consider, but this range from Phillip Rivers down to Cousins with like Rivers, Prescott, Garoppolo, even Carson Wentz, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Kirk Cousins, I feel like that's going to be where I really go to for quarterback. Obviously, nothing's set in stone yet. We're still 3 weeks away from the start of the regular season, so nothing's set in stone, but I feel like quarterback this week, or this week 1 is going to be a position we probably look to pay down. Definitely let me know down in the comments any of your favorite standout plays. I'll be sure to hit on all the guys that do stand out to me at each position. But let's go ahead and move on to running back. Look at running back at the top. Ezekiel Elliott leads the slate in pricing at 9,200. Obviously, you can see on DraftKings he is listed as questionable. Still don't know if he's going to be playing week 1. Still holding out, waiting for a contract. So that can maybe open up some value. We'll talk about Tony Pollard, who's very cheap on DraftKings. Could be one of the top values if Ezekiel Elliott ultimately winds up not playing week 1. So Elliott kind of a wait and see. Saquon Barkley, we know how good this guy's going to be. Just getting a ton of volume. He saw a ton of volume last year, getting 15, 20 touches a game, getting wide receiver-like targets. You see at 8, 7, 10, 5, 4, 8 targets. He's going to be a massive workload, or just going to get a massive workload on a week-to-week basis. I do like Barkley a lot. He's probably one of the best spend-up options. Almost every slate doesn't really change here against the Cowboys. Do like Barkley quite a bit at 9K. Same with Christian McCaffrey at 8,800. Another guy that's just going to get a ton of volume. Barely came off the field last year. He was playing like a ton of snaps, like 90, 95% of the snaps for the Panthers last year. I would imagine that goes down a bit, but McCaffrey's still going to be a heavy workload back, going to get 15, 20 carries a game. Same with Barkley, going to get receiver-like targets, double-digit targets, has the potential to get that pretty much every game. In a matchup with the Rams, I think McCaffrey definitely is in play at 8,800. I'd probably side with Barkley in terms of like optimal play, cash game. I would definitely ride with Barkley. But in GPPs, I'd try and pay up at running back as much as possible because I think you just have the most upside at the running back position. So Barkley and McCaffrey, going to be two guys I look to quite a bit. David Johnson, 7,700 at home against the Lions, I think is probably someone we could look to. He'll be someone that I'll have my eye on as we get closer to week 1. Melvin Gordon, a guy that's holding out as well, along with Ezekiel Elliott. He is listed as questionable. If he were to sit out week 1, I don't think that's going to be as much of a smash spot for value because it looks like Eckler and Justin Jackson are probably going to wind up splitting the work. Usually when we target value running backs, we want them to get as much work as possible. So I don't think we're going to have to go to the Chargers backs. I'll pull up their pricing real quick. Looking at Eckler, he's 5,500. Jackson's 4K. Maybe you could target those guys, but it looks like they're going to be splitting the work. There's not going to be a clear number 1 guy. Whereas for the Cowboys, I do believe if Elliott winds up sitting out, Pollard's probably going to be the number 1 guy. And I'm pretty sure he's very cheap on DraftKings. He's at 4,500, so he's definitely someone we could look to for value. But then another guy in this mid-range that's pricing really stands out is Le'Veon Bell. He's someone that I feel like I'm going to be pretty heavy on DraftKings. He's only 7,100. This is a guy that we were paying 9K, nearly 10K for when he was with the Steelers. He's not going to be in that same sort of offensive environment. We know how good the Steelers' offense was when they were fully healthy, when they had Big Ben, Lev Bell, Juju, Antonio Brown. That was a very dangerous offense, an offense that just put up points every week. I don't think that's going to be the same here with the Jets, but Le'Veon Bell I feel like still going to get plenty of volume, going to get work in the passing game. Not a great matchup against the Bills, not a great environment for scoring, but still, given the price tag of Le'Veon Bell at 7,100, he is for sure going to be on my radar. If he was up there with McCaffrey and Barkley in pricing, probably wouldn't go to him, but at 7,100, I'm definitely going to have exposure to Le'Veon Bell as we get closer to week 1. But now getting down to this mid-range, a couple of guys that stand out looking at pricing. Leonard Fournette at home against the Chiefs, only 6,100. I do like him a lot. Dalvin Cook at home against a Falcons team that we targeted running backs a lot with last year. Don't think anything's going to change this year. The Falcons allowed the most targets to running backs last year. I feel like it's going to be the same this year. So Dalvin Cook at only 6K in a pretty favorable game for offense, game that I expect is going to be relatively high scoring. Cook at only 6K on DraftKings. I feel like this is ultimately going to be a week where we're definitely paying for 3 running backs, or we're playing 3 running backs, 2 in our RB spots and 1 in our flex, probably paying up for either one of McCaffrey or Saquon Barkley. Then at RB2, I think Cook's going to be a guy that I use a lot, Fournette as well, but really like Cook at RB2. And then in your flex, there's going to be plenty of value I feel like that we could definitely target. Depending on how some of these holdouts go, there's even some injuries as well that could potentially open up value. But now talking about some of these cheaper guys, one of the injuries we're going to need to watch as we get closer to week 1 is Kenyon Drake. He's questionable right now. If he were to miss, Balaj at 4,500 is going to be one of the top value plays. Same with, obviously, Pollard if Ezekiel Elliott does wind up sitting. But Balaj at home against the, almost said the Orioles, against the Ravens. Balaj definitely someone that we could target if Drake were to sit. He did have some big games last year. I know he had, I think it was like against the Patriots, he had like a really big game last year. Broke off like a really long run. Balaj definitely a high upside back. Should get a little bit of work in the passing game. And at 4,500, if Drake were ultimately to sit, Balaj would be a top value play. But that's probably it for running back values, I feel like. Maybe some Matt Breida, only 4K against Tampa Bay. Someone we could definitely look to if you're trying to find a value play. I feel like the guys at 4,500, Balaj and Pollard, are probably going to be better values, but we'll see as we get closer to week 1. So let's go ahead and move on to receiver. Nothing really stands out at receiver, at least at the top. You have your normal guys, Odell, Julio, Mike Evans, Tyreek Hill, all priced pretty high. There's no really like clear standout plays, at least I feel like at the top. Moving down to the mid-range, it's kind of the same thing. Chris Godwin, I was very excited to see what DraftKings was going to have him priced at. And 6,200 I feel like is a pretty good price for Godwin. I was going to be shocked if he was like 5K or below, and he probably would have been the top value play on the slate. But at 6,200, he still looks like a pretty good play in my opinion. In this game against the 49ers, Godwin's definitely going to be someone I look to. Mike Evans, going to be someone I'll try and pay up for as well if possible. Just really like stacking this game in general on both sides. I think there are a lot of plays on both sides of this game. Tyler Boyd at 5,800 with A.J. Green looking unlikely to play week 1. Tyler Boyd might be someone that we could potentially look to at 5,800. Just a couple plays in this mid-tier that maybe stand out. A guy like DJ Moore, I expect DJ Moore to have a big year this year. At 5,500, definitely someone we can maybe look to in this mid-range. Dante Pettis, just going back to that game for the 49ers, someone you could possibly consider at 5,400. With Odell gone, I think Sterling Shepard's going to see a lot of volume. He's only 5K. If he winds up playing, could be a value play we look to. I'm not very high on the Giants' offense this year. I don't think they're going to have like a great season. But I think Barkley for fantasy is going to be great. I think Shepard for fantasy is going to be an okay receiver. So at 5K as a value, definitely someone we could look to. But I did want to talk about these Arizona receivers. I think these Arizona receivers at only 4,700 for a guy like Christian Kirk that has a lot of upside for a fast-paced offense with Kyler Murray at quarterback. I do like Christian Kirk a lot this week. I'm going to have a lot of Kyler Murray, Christian Kirk stacks, I feel like. Kirk's definitely someone I'm going to be looking to as a value receiver. Same could be said for some of the other guys. Pull up the Arizona receiver core right quick. You do have Andy Isabel at only 3,400. This is a guy that's pretty highly touted. People are very excited to see like how he's going to perform in the NFL level. And just in this Arizona offense, definitely could be someone we look to for value. But Kirk, Fitzgerald probably going to be the 2 highest targeted receivers. Kirk's definitely my favorite though. Prefer him over Fitzgerald. But that's probably it for receiver for just a couple standout plays. A guy like Devin Funchess, I think, is going to have a pretty good year with the Colts. I think he's going to see a lot of targets as a wide receiver too behind T.Y. Hilton. Andrew Luck's definitely going to be getting him the ball. Not the best spot against the against the Chargers, but at only 4K as a value receiver, possibly someone we could look to. But I think that's it for receiver. I think those are just a couple of salary plays that stand out. Let's go ahead and move on to tight end. Tight end, a position that really same thing you see like every week. Guys like Travis Kelce, George Kittle, Zach Ertz at the top. These guys are going to be at the top of the salary list at tight end pretty much all year. Kelce in a tough spot against Jacksonville. Not sure he's going to be someone that we want to try and spend on this slate. He's definitely going to be sort of a tournament play. Spending is where you're going to want to do your spending at running back and receiver, mainly running back though, I feel like. George Kittle, if I were to spend, would definitely be my favorite play. I just like this game so much between the 49ers and the Bucs. And Kittle, I feel like, has a lot of upside here against a really bad Bucs defense. So at 6,600, if I'm paying up at tight end, he's probably going to be the guy that I look to. But trying to find some value, that's what I usually like to do at tight end. I think Hunter Henry, coming back from injury, 3,900, really looks good as a value play. David Njoku, I think, is going to have a great year with Baker Mayfield at quarterback. And I like him a lot at 3,700. Even a guy like maybe Jordan Reed or Delaney Walker. Delaney Walker, only 3,500 against the Browns, feels like a really good play for value. Kyle Rudolph, 3,300. Greg Olsen, 3,200. Even Austin Hooper, 3,200. Tyler Eifert coming back from injury, 3,100. Tight end easily going to be a position that we just try and find value, and there's plenty of value on DraftKings, 4K and below. There's a lot of guys I like 4K and below. Just this range from like Henry down to Hooper, or Henry down to Eifert. Pretty much all these guys are in play for value that we could potentially consider. But that's probably it for tight end. Moving on to defense, there's really not much to talk about since it's so early on in the season. Since we're 3 weeks to go till week 1. Don't really need to give any defense plays. I guess if I were to pick some that stood out, maybe just looking for like cheap home defenses, you could maybe go to like the Cardinals. The Cardinals don't have a great defense, but they're at home and they're facing a pretty bad Lions offense. So the Cardinals are maybe a team that you could look to. The Chargers at home against the Colts maybe. Seahawks probably be the best play at home against the Bengals. Without A.J. Green, the Bengals are probably not going to have a great couple weeks with Green out. So Seahawks at 3,100 at home probably going to be the go-to defense. Probably going to be like the chalk defense on this slate. But I think that's it for defense. I think I pretty much covered all the plays that stood out to me. Obviously not giving like any in-depth picks, any in-depth position analysis, because we're still 3 weeks to go till this season starts, and we're still waiting on a lot of injury news, a lot of holdout news. As we get closer to week 1, like the week before Sunday, I'll start having more videos out. I'll have like position by position breakdowns. I think this year I'm going to look to do, rather than doing like one video going over the slate, I think I'm going to do a video covering each position. I'm going to be talking about DraftKings and Yahoo all year. So if you're playing on DraftKings and Yahoo, which you should be, DraftKings running out huge tournaments. Yahoo's running out a rake-free $1 million tournament. Going to be covering both of those sites all year. So make sure you are subscribed. Would appreciate it if you would subscribe. If you did enjoy this video, make sure you drop a like down below. I would really appreciate it. If you have any questions, if you want to leave any comments, feel free to do so down below in the comment section. Let me know some of your favorite plays in week 1, some of your early standouts, some guys that you think might be too cheap or maybe too underpriced. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. Like I said at the beginning, I will be doing this same thing covering Yahoo. So if you are planning to play Yahoo NFL DFS this year, make sure you check out that Yahoo specific video. That will be up later today after this video goes up. But thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed, and we will see you in the next video. Peace.